Hello students, today in this class we are going to discuss about a lesson, beautiful lesson that is I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so before we start this lesson, before we go to this speech, actually this is a speech. See, we have so many different genres in our syllabus, like we have poetry, we have prose, we have drama. So speech is also one of the genre where people have given a speech, and that speech we have taken into our lessons. Okay, and we learned about this lesson about that speech. So I Have a Dream, it's a speech, wonderful speech given by Martin Luther King Jr. Why we call Junior is that we have one more person by the same name, Martin Luther King. He was a reformist of a Catholic Church. That was a different story from the history. But this man, Martin Luther Jr., is called Junior because this man came in recent times, maybe in 20th century, 1900s. So what does this title mean? What does the mean of title I Have a Dream? We have seen one more title like this, which is given by one of our greatest scientists of our time, that is Abdul Kalam. I have dream for India 2020. So when you say I have a dream, it's not that the dream that you have dreamt last night while you're sleeping. It's not the dream. When you say dream here, it means you are talking about your vision. You're talking about your your want or wish for future. That's called dream here. Here, Martin Luther King Jr. has a vision for his own people. He's a black American actually. So he has his own, he has his own vision for his people to make American society a place, a land of equal opportunity, of equal justice. That's what he's fighting for, of course, with their non-violence meaning. Non-violence means like Mahatma Gandhi, who achieved independence to India. For India, he also acquired the system or the process called non-violent movement. So this man was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi and Jesus Christ and many other people who achieved their goal with the means of non-violence. So let us step into the actual lesson. So here you see, I would like to start a beautiful quote by Martin Luther King that you can see on the screen. I have a dream that one day this nation means USA, the United States of America, will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. What is asking that is dreaming for America to rise up in the sense not only just physical rise up, to rise up in its values, in its in its goodness, to live out as an example the true meaning of its creed. What is true meaning of its creed? Creed in the sense promise. Creed in the sense some kind of faith, belief. That's called creed, promise. So it has to, whenever you promise something, you have to stand to it. Yes or no? So he's asking whatever America has promised for its few people, it has to stand to the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. A beautiful quote, once again I repeat, that all men are created equal. Whether you're black or white, whether you're rich or poor, whether you are a high class or low class people, there is no such kind of discrimination that's supposed to be in America. But all men are created equal. This kind of mindset has to be developed in the minds of American people. So that is what his dream, that is what he says whenever he says I have a dream, that all men are created equal, that everybody should get equal injustice and equal rights in the society of America. And let us talk about this man, little bit about this man in introduction. So about the speaker, why we call about the speaker? He was the one who spoke to the people. Okay, almost there are some 10 lakh of people who gathered near the monument, American monument. So there, this man gave a beautiful speech, I have a dream. So Martin Luther King Jr. was a prominent American civil rights. What do you mean by prominent? Very important. American civil rights leader. There are so many leaders who led this movement, who are the partakers of this civil rights movement. What do you mean by civil rights? Civil rights means people's right. Okay, like we have civil rights, like we have right to vote, right to live, and right to have property, so right to speech, okay, like that we have so many rights. So he was one who fought for civil rights for the people, especially black American people. Okay, these people are called African American people, those people who have roots in Africa, and those people who were born and brought up in America. These people are called African American. We have one more word which we don't use these days, Negro. Negro means this kind of black race people called Negroes, but it's not a right word, appropriate word to use these days. Okay. So what is man? This man was a leader who led civil rights movement in America, who worked tirelessly for equality and justice through non-violent means. So he was fighting. Fighting means not physical fight. He was fighting with his speech. He was fighting with his tongue. He was fighting with non-violent means. That he played a key role in ending racial segregation and discrimination against African American in the United States. So what he was fighting for? He was fighting against discrimination. You know what is the meaning of discrimination? Keeping things separate for people, okay, based on color, based on race, based on class. You have some kind of separation, you have some kind of partiality. That is called discrimination. He was fighting against it, and against African American in the United States. So whatever racial segregation and discrimination that is going on, he was fighting against it. And inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence, King led peaceful protests and marches and speeches that awakened the conscience of the nation. So he was mostly inspired by Mahatma Gandhi philosophy. There's ideology that we should achieve the goal through non-violent means. Means that thing, the tool that you use. What the tool that he's using is not using the gun, he's not using the bombs, he is using non-violence means. Next point about the speaker. He's famous. I have a dream. This lesson that we are dealing now is a speech emphasized his vision of a society. So he was dreaming about the society. He was not dreaming about having a cars. He was not dreaming about having bungalows. He was not dreaming about having fame and name, but he was fighting for his own people, guys. So in this I have a dream lesson or the speech, he was talking about equality. Please remember this point, equality. All people should be treated equal in the terms of justice, in the terms of opportunities for jobs, whatever. Equality has to be observed in the land of America. Freedom. You should be free to express yourself. Those were the days where African people, those who were settled in America, were not given freedom to express whatever they'll want to say. For example, they want to say something against the government. No, they are not supposed to open their mouth. If you open and say something against the government, you will be immediately put into jail. So there was no freedom at all. And also brotherhood. There was no brotherhood. That means white people in America, they were showing some differences or indifferences, let us call, okay, based on their color. So they don't want to get these black people coming near them. So these were the things that these black people are facing. What is that? There is no equality, there is no freedom, there is no brotherhood. Brotherhood means having what kind of living in a, what do you say, brother and sister relationship, like, okay, with love and concern. That was not there. Through his courage and leadership and moral conviction. So this man is known for his courage. He was courageously talking in the public meetings. He was a good leader. He was a good leader. He has a good leadership qualities. And moral conviction, third one. Moral conviction means so he has some kind of belief in his own ethics. Ethics in the sense, good qualities, good behavior, love for the nation, love for his people. So these things, Martin Luther King Jr. became a symbol of hope. So became a symbol of hope. For almost 100 years, people lost hope in the country. The country promised them equality, but broke the promise. Freedom, brotherhood, Nothing was observed. But this man came into the people. He stood like a hope, a symbol of hope and social change. He was trying to change the society of America because the society was not going in the right path. It is showing injustice. It has no moral values. It was running based on race and creed. So, leaving lasting legacy in the struggle for human rights, he made a mark in the society of America. He made a history by fighting for his people, for the equality, freedom and brotherhood. Let us move to the next slide and see what does the speech say. So, I would like to quote one of his famous speech quotes. I have a dream that my four little children, he was actually talking about his four little children who are also black people, will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character. So he was dreaming for the future of his kids, four kids, and he was so scared also, but he is dreaming for his future where these four kids will not be judged when they go for job, when they go out in the society. They should not be judged by the color of their skin. But what is the mean? What is the criteria? They should be judged by the content of their character. So he's wishing for the future of America that people should be judged not by the color of their skin but by the character of their nature. The famous speech, I have a dream speech, is one of the most powerful and influential speeches in history. Why it's called influential? Still this speech is integrated in our curriculum because this is so influential. Even today, people across the world use this speech, okay, when they want to fight against the discrimination based on their color, based on the caste, based on the class. People still use this speech and his quotes, his words, and they quote in their speeches. That's the importance of this man. So this was a speech given on August 28 by Martin Luther King in the year 1963 during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. So people flocked together onto the roads of Washington near the monument. You can see on this photograph there is a monument, the kind of pole that is built, okay, in the remembrance of freedom fighters of America. So that monument is there. So people, they went there fighting and marching for jobs and freedom. So friends, we can see here in the speech, King spoke passionately means with a lot of interest, about his dream of an America where people would be judged not by the color of the skin but by the content of the character. I just repeated the quote that was given in the image. He highlighted the injustice of racial discrimination and called for equality, freedom and brotherhood through non-violent means. Okay, so using strong imagery, he was using imagery and also repetition. He was repeating the same words like I have a dream to emphasize and to bring the people, to bring some kind of passion in the people, some kind of fire in the people. He was always quoting the same lines like what lines? I have a dream for America, I have a dream for America for equal opportunity. So he was using this kind of words in his speech, and through speech inspired millions and became turning point in the American civil movements. So it turned to be an influential and very impactful speech of all the time. So the civil rights movement, you can see a picture where the Martin Luther King was leading so many people. Okay, it continues to symbolize hope, justice, and ongoing struggle for civil rights around the world. Even many people from other countries also, when they want to fight against the government, fight against injustice that's happening, they use this man's speech to quote and to influence people to bring onto the roads and fight for their lives. Next, a small analysis about this speech. Martin Luther King begins his speech by recalling the Emancipation Proclamation. So he started his speech by recalling the promise that was made by America. Emancipation of proclamation. Emancipation means freedom, equality. So it was proclaimed, noting that even 100 years later, after 100 years later also, African Americans remain oppressed. That means they were crushed, oppressed in their freedom by segregation and discrimination. Segregation means separation. Discrimination showing some partial things, okay, showing partiality. He describes their condition as one of poverty, injustice, and alienation. So they were facing poverty, no money, no opportunities, no job, injustice. If a black man has done some crime, is immediately put into jail. But where a white man has done some crime, they were given some kind of lenience. And alienation, they were separated from the society. They're not supposed to travel in the buses of white people. They're not supposed to come to the hotels of white people. So alienation means aliens, like coming from other planets. So we use that word aliens. Here they were treated like aliens coming from other place. They're not given some kind of feelings that they also belong to the same land. King uses the metaphor of a promissory note. What is a promissory note? That all people are equal, to argue that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence promised equality to all citizens, a promise America has failed to keep for black Americans. They were kept this promise only for whites, but not for the blacks. So that was the thing he was fighting for. Next, continuation. However, he asserts his faith. So even after 100 years of fight, he still asserts his faith. He still believes that America will change, that justice is achievable, and urges the nation to act with urgency. So there is no much time left. We have to fight for our rights, but not rather than gradualism. There is no more delay. Let us come and fight for our rights. That was his motto. He emphasizes the need for peaceful protest. So guys, he was asking for fights, but not a physical violent fight, but he was asking for peaceful protest, warning against hatred. There is no hatred. They hated us, let us also give them back, like tit for tat. No such kind of things must happen. So he asks the people to act with love and kindness, not with the hatred and violence, and calls for unity between black and white Americans. He was fighting not only for the black people, he was also fighting for the brotherhood. Actually, brotherhood means where Americans, whites and blacks, should live in harmony, should live in peace and justice. King outlines many injustices that prevent African American from being satisfied. What are the things that stopping the black people? Brutality, police brutality. The police were very harsh towards black people. Denial of voting rights. They were not given any kind of freedom to vote and to elect the government. And racial segregation. So there was a segregation, separation based on the color, race, blacks and whites. So these were the things that were actually preventing the black people to develop in the society of America. So conclusion, I would like to conclude with these few lines, and we will end this class. The speech reaches its emotional peak. So it reaches its emotional peak. It came to the almost zenith with the King's famous line, "I have a dream." So these were the lines that always roaming around his coming and going within his speech. Vision of a future where people are judged by character rather than skin color, where racial harmony prevails, because the racial harmony he wants to prevail in the society. Prevail means spread over, and where freedom rings across the nation. That is what his dream all about. He concludes with a powerful vision of universal freedom. So he's asking for not only for America, but he's asking for the universal freedom, ending with the triumphant declaration, "We are free at last." That was his final words. So he's almost, the freedom has not yet achieved, but still he's giving a hope by what you say, by telling that we are almost free. So he's giving a big hope for this people. So thank you guys. With this we will end the class. Thank you.